It is our right. It is our right. Our freedom of speech.
We believe
it just rolled into Washington.
It just rolled into Washington.
I think you previously called it a publicity stunt. Is that still the view of the White House?
The president in real trouble with young voters.
Oh, some BLM protests go awry in Pittsburgh over the weekend. Buses from the Texas area reach D.C. full of illegal immigrants to the United States. Jen Psaki says it's not a publicity stunt anymore. Biden polling is down with younger voters. Who would have thought? All that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. Daily Caller Live starts, wait for it, right now.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
That might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually their name, Jobob.
Live from the dingy bunker, completely cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live on today. It's April 18th, the year of our Lord 2022. It's tax day, which means nothing to the majority of Americans, crazily. I think, 60% of Americans last year didn't pay federal income tax. So there's that. Things are going to be what things are going to be in the modern world. I wanted to get to this first. Apparently, there are still people from Black Lives Matter protesting. I kind of thought we all were pretty hip to the jig being up for the BLM people. If you're not, for some reason, we talked about it last week. Patrisse Cullors, the founder of BLM, along with a bunch of the other founders of BLM, purchased a $6 million house and violated several IRS and possibly, not the SEC, violated several IRS rules and are just kind of getting away with it. And then when confronted about it, they're calling it racist. But apparently there's still people protesting in the streets. And by in the streets, I mean literally in the streets. There was a protest in Pittsburgh that was, I think, deemed unlawful, but at the same time, they probably just didn't file the permitting. There's some, dare I say, fun clips from it, but several black police officers decided to handle the situation of people blocking the streets. Look, you're allowed to protest whatever it is you want, even if whatever it is you want is dumb, such in most BLM circumstances. But you can't block traffic. That's just a no-no. And if you do, you're going to get arrested. And that's exactly what happened over the weekend. Watch the first confrontation. There was a lot of F-bombs in here, so I'm sorry if I didn't bleep them all. Bear with me here. If you haven't already, click the little like button, click the little share button. Really, really appreciate you doing so. It really, really helps us get out to more people and also continue what we're doing. And see, there's a couple thousand of you watching right now. Would really, really appreciate you doing that. Here we go. Rolling tape.
Where are you all? Where are you all speaking at?
Right here.
Not in the middle
right
of the street.
here. Yes, we are. It is our freaking right. It is freedom of yes. It is our right. It is our right. It is our right. It is our right. Our freedom of speech. We can march and we can say what the we want. Don't talk and point at me. Black lives matter. Cop lives don't matter here. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice.
So that is, let me make sure I stop that there to interject some things. If you saw that, what's happening is they're protesting in the middle of the streets. And they're saying, we have the right, it's freedom of speech. Yes, but physical immobility is not a right in America. You can't stop other people from going to wherever they want to go. That's called kidnapping in a lot of places. Obviously, they weren't kidnapping anybody, but stopping traffic is not within the rights of free speech. Somebody should have told them. So, now this gets a little bit graphic, so sorry that that's what we're watching. But holy cow, the police officers respond with some force. And they're like, all right, if you don't want to get out of the street and stop stopping traffic, we're going to arrest you. And they did just that. Again, if you haven't already, click the little like button, click the little share button. It would really, really help us out. And also, people need to see this because this is borderline hilarious. I thought my little chyron here, this side, was hilarious. BLM's subpar boxing skills. I hope this doesn't get pulled down. Watch this.
Get out of my fucking kid's face! Get out of my kid's face! Just like if you don't want to touch me, no, you're not. I didn't do shit. No, you're
Get your fucking hand behind your back.
So that's kind of what happened there. Look, hey, if you push the cops get to push back, and not get to. They need to protect themselves, and they need to protect the community. So if you're going to be a violent person against the authority figure, which is law enforcement, which is the police, you're going to face the consequences of it. I don't really feel bad for these people. Let me know in the comment section what you think of this situation going on in Pittsburgh. I don't know. It seems like what would happen? Let me go back and scroll through this. If you are just listening, sorry that this is mostly a visual thing. Here we go. We can like frame this up. We can't go slow motion or anything, but let's just watch this one again. Look, hey, if you hit the cops, you're gonna get hit. Drop them. Yeah, so that's what's going on in Pittsburgh. It is interesting to say the least how many people are still in support of Black Lives Matter. The organization, not the phrase. And I don't want to have to freaking keep saying that. But the organization is corrupt, evil, vindictive, lying, stealing money, just overall fraudulent. But that doesn't say, like, of course, black people in general matter. That's not what we're saying. The BLM Foundation is the problem. Actually, we got some interesting stuff coming up tomorrow on the founder and their $6 million mansion purchase that has been making the news. But speaking of making the news, buses arrived in D.C. over the weekend. Late last week and over the weekend, buses from Texas were arriving in the capital of the country. If you remember, the beginning of last week, maybe it was the week before that, the Texas governor, Greg Abbott, hilariously, by the way, said, hey, if you guys want to deal with the problem, we're going to go ahead and send all of these illegal immigrants to D.C. so that Biden administration can deal with it right then and right there. Let's play this clip from Fox News and then discuss on the other side.
Remember when Greg Abbott said in Texas that if the federal government is going to drop migrants off in Texas, we will provide them free bus rides to our nation's capital? That is a bus with 2 or 3 dozen migrants on board. We believe
it just rolled into Washington.
It just rolled into Washington. I think they initially wanted to drop off the migrants at the U.S. Capitol, but I think as close as they could get would be near Union Station.
They could be processed on the bus.
They're being processed. They're inside right now.
It kind of looks like a Columbus Circle right there. So that is what Jen Psaki referred to as, well, that's just a publicity stunt.
Nope, it's not.
That's not going to happen.
So the reason I wanted to play that's just a publicity stunt is because then Jen Psaki was asked about it. She did say, oh, this is just a publicity stunt. This will never happen. And then a reporter in the White House press briefing room asked her about it and said, hey, is this still a publicity stunt? We have that clip for you coming up in just a second. But again, if you haven't already, there's 4,000 people on here. I've seen little numbers depending on what platform you're watching on. would really, really appreciate it if you just click the little emoji button. Maybe this makes you angry. Maybe you think Texas Governor Abbott is hilarious for doing so. Click the little like button right here. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does really, really help us out. Listen to Jen Psaki taking questions from the press about the busing situation in Washington, D.C.
The first bus of migrants arrived in D.C. today. Texas Governor Greg Abbott making good on his promise to send migrants to the president's doorstep. I think you previously called it a publicity stunt. Is that still the view of the White House? Can you give us any reaction to this busload of migrants arriving here in D.C.?
Well, these are all migrants who have been processed by CBP and are free to travel, so it's nice the state of Texas is helping them get to their final destination as they await in their outcome of their immigration proceedings, and they're all in immigration proceedings.
So just to catch people up on what immigration proceedings are, the way the administration is handling this at the border is ineffective, to say the least. What they're doing is processing people through that, again, come into the country illegally and commit crimes by doing so. They're processing them at the border and releasing them into the interior of the United States with a piece of paper that has a court date. How many people those you show up for that court date? I think the actual statistic is around 90% miss it. So like 10%, unfortunately for those people, they show up to the court date and actually stand whatever the trial process is of whether or not they're going to be processed and admitted into the United States. The overwhelming majority of them do not attend their court hearing. Holy cow, who would have thought? That seems just outrageous. Can you believe the fact that people wouldn't show up to their court hearing after illegally entering a country, invading a country, if you talk to some of the friends that I know that are on the border? But Jen Psaki saying all of these people are processed. So what's realistically going to happen is the city of Washington, D.C. is going to have to deal with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bus loads of people on the streets of Washington, D.C. I'm not entirely sure what you do about that if you're the White House or if you're Muriel Bowser, the mayor of D.C. But that's something that they're going to have to deal with now going forward. I'm curious to see if they made them wear masks on the bus. Not entirely sure. So there's that. This is actually kind of concerning in a lot of ways. Oh, shoot. You know what? This is not the polling issue. Is it the polling? This is not the polling, but check this out. This is actually kind of interesting, too. On Meet the Press over the weekend, one of Biden's new, Clay Travis called him an imbecile. His new COVID person, doctor, guy, was on Meet the Press talking to Chuck Todd about mandates. Still? I kind of thought we were done with that. I talked about briefly last Wednesday. I was up in Berkeley, California with Charlie Kirk doing a rally. And I didn't know this was still a thing. I guess if it's going to be a thing, it's going to be a thing in Berkeley, California. But we went to go eat dinner and got vax carded. Like, hey, do you have your vaccine passport? Oh, shoot. I didn't know that was even a thing that people needed anymore. But apparently it still exists in Berkeley. And now they're talking about continued mandates on airlines. Listen to this from Chuck Todd over the weekend, and then we'll discuss the idea of mandates across, well, anything. Check this out.
You were an advocate of a vaccine mandate when you were on the other side of this in your private capacity here. Is that something that can be implemented, a vaccine mandate for air travel?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think, when I have always believed, and certainly the early days of the pandemic, once vaccines became available, I thought it was very important to get as many Americans vaccinated as quickly as possible. And mandates worked. Mandates do work. We are in a different position now, obviously, with more than 220 million Americans vaccinated, 100 million people boosted. And so we really have to ask ourselves, what is the role of mandates moving forward? And we're going to need to assess each of these individual situations differently.
Yeah, so one, he uses the dumbest phrase in the history of the world, mandates work. Yeah, if you force people to do something, unfortunately, they're going to do it. If you can force them at the threat of their job, the threat of their livelihood, unfortunately, they're going to do it. So we'll keep an eye on that, whether or not mask mandates are going to taking effect in the future. Vaccine mandates to fly in airlines. Today was the day that you're supposed to not be able to wear a mask on an airplane. I'm flying today, twice. And I'm still going to have to wear my definitely real, definitely not mesh mask on the airplanes that definitely help. CDC extended it to May 3rd, but it was supposed to be today. Last thing I want to get to today, and I think this is freaking hilarious. And by hilarious, I mean kind of sad, honestly. Who would have thought, who could have guessed that a transgender inmate housed with women in the prison facility would get people pregnant? A trans inmate in New Jersey has gotten 2 women pregnant. Who could have seen this coming? Besides everybody. If you haven't already, click the little like button, click the little share button. Again, would really appreciate you doing so. It really helps us out because this is a story that is unlike any other. Oh my gosh, did I not bring the story here? I don't think I. Wow. Okay. Oh no, here we go. 2 inmates serving time in New Jersey's only state prison for women became pregnant after they had sex with a transgender inmate. According to a report on Wednesday, in 2021, New Jersey enacted a policy to allow prisoners to be housed in accordance with their preferred gender identity. The policy was a part of a settlement from a civil rights suit, not abuse, brought by a woman who was forced to live with men's prisoners for 18 months. I'm confused how that works. I should have dug into that a little bit more. There are more than 800 prisoners, including 27 transgender women at the Jersey Correctional Facility. Statistically, that doesn't actually add up at all, but we'll leave that for right now, which does not require women to undergo gender reassignment surgery in order to be housed there. Again, who could have seen this coming? Yeah. If you're just joining us right now, if you're just tagging on right now, it's interesting seeing the numbers jump up and jump down. If you're just joining us right this second, an inmate, a transgender inmate, has impregnated 2 women in a women's prison. Who could have seen this coming? Let's see. You know what? That's going to do it for us today. You know what? Do you want to take a peek at the knockout one more time from the beginning of the show? If you're just watching, we talked at the beginning of the show of a BLM riot. I don't know what you want to call it. Protest that was in the middle of the streets, and they started arresting people. And I don't know. I just thought this was fun. We'll play I can't believe that police officer used force against that person who was using force against the police officer. Such is the world we live in now. That's going to do it for us today. Holy cow, we got through a lot in a not very long period of time. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting show. We've got, I want to dig into the Twitter thing. So there are Twitter updates for those of you who are like, what the heck is happening with Twitter? There are Twitter updates that I want to keep you apprised of, I'm not sure what up to date with, especially and including some hilarious clips from MSNBC. So we'll get to that. Also, Amla Banobi is joining us tomorrow, so stay on tune for that. And then what else? Oh, tomorrow we're on Candace Owens show, heading to Nashville and going to shoot the Candace Owens show tomorrow. So if you are a fan of Candace or any of the Daily Wire platforms or any of that sort of stuff, feel free to check me out. Would love to see you there. Let me see. If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media platforms. Holy cow, I forgot the logo the entire show. There we go. There's the logo. The logo is up. This is the Daily Caller Show, Daily Caller Live with yours truly. My name is Jobob. Thanks so much. If you haven't already, get a chance to follow me on any of your social media accounts, Jobob. I'm hilarious. There's a hilarious reel that I have up now of my wife and I on Easter yesterday having some trouble in the kitchen. It's pretty hilarious. So if you want to see that hilarious video, give me a follow on any of your social media platforms at Jobob. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. And then Wednesday, we're at a different place. Thanks for tuning in. I know there's a lot of you that watch the entire show. Really, really appreciate you doing that. We will see you tomorrow. God bless America.